Please join us in welcoming military veteran and the junior senator from the state of Illinois, Tammy Duckworth.
All right, Springfield. Hi, everyone. It is so great to be here. I missed the fair last year because I was home with my new baby. So I'm so happy to be back. It is great to be in a room with all my friends again. And a shout out to the DuPage Dems. Where are you? All right, all over. Oh, they usually sit together, but they're all over today. You know, you just got a great list of accomplishments out of the House of Representatives that the Cherry just gave you. That's our to-do list in the Senate. The legislative graveyard where nothing moves other than really bad judicial appointments. Please, please help support all of our statewide, all of the folks running at the state level, but please, whatever you do, work as hard as you can to help whoever our Democratic presidential nominee ends up being, because we've got to get someone into the White House and we have got to get control of the United States Senate. I am so happy that Speaker Pelosi is here. I had the great privilege of working with her when I was a freshman in the House and my second term in the House when she was Leader Pelosi. One of my greatest disappointments in terms of being in the Senate is that I don't get to be in the majority in the House with the Speaker. On the other hand, I am so happy to be over in the Senate as the junior senator to my mentor, my friend, Dick Durbin. And let's not forget, this election is also about re-electing Dick Durbin back to the Senate so that we can have him in the majority as the majority whip. Absolutely. You don't need me to tell you how important the work that we are all doing is. But if we want to win, we have to stay focused, we have to do the work, and we cannot let up. Our hard work paid off last year when we elected Governor Pritzker and Juliana Stratton to the governor's mansion and the lieutenant governor's seat. But we've already seen how work done at the state level gets stopped at the federal level when you have a roadblock in the terms of, well, I like to call them cadet bone spurs in the White House. Our state is getting back on track, and Speaker Pelosi is certainly blocking Donald Trump's worst abuses, but as long as they call him Moscow Mitch, but in Kentucky, there are billboards that say Putin's Mitch. As long as Mitch McConnell controls the Senate and Trump is in the White House, it is going to be hard for the things that we need to do and that we've been successful here in Illinois to be able to happen across the nation. So we have to win. We're going to have to work like hell to make sure that we get people elected. We can't take anything for granted anywhere. We've got to knock on those doors, do the hard work, and we've got to get out into our communities and tell voters why it is critical that they vote Democrat. Yes, we had a wave in 2018, but let me tell you, we had some real challenges in Southern Illinois, and we've got to get back out into Southern Illinois to help those folks who lost those Dems who lost their seats back into office and get new Dems into office in Southern Illinois. I know it can be done because Dick Durbin has been winning counties in Southern Illinois for decades, and I've won some counties in Southern Illinois as well. So we know there are good Democrats there. We know there are hardworking families who are worried about their mortgage, about their retirement, about their medical bills, about their kids' tuition. We can reach out to these folks and they will vote Democrat, but we have got to get the message into Southern Illinois, and that starts here in this room. We have to come to this together. So what is the message that we send? Well, we have to tell folks why it's wrong to rip nursing babies away from their mothers, why it is wrong to ban people who are fleeing terror from entering our country, and why it is wrong to just sit back and watch as the number of innocent lives lost to gun violence keeps increasing without doing anything. So here's my to-do list. a national family leave policy so that we can all have time to go be with our loved ones when they are sick, whether it is the birth of a new child or whether it is a family member who is ill. We need gun legislation. We need sensible gun legislation. Over 95% of Americans agree and support universal background check legislation. It has passed the House under the Speaker's leadership, but it sits there and we don't even get a vote on it in the Senate. Because you know why? Moscow Mitch knows that if it comes up for a vote, it would pass. So he will not let us vote on it. And let me tell you something about some of the sensible gun legislation and from the perspective of someone who does shoot, who does go out there and enjoy going out to the range. Nobody needs a 100-round magazine, a 100-round drum on the streets of our city. No one. Hell, the Army didn't even issue me a 100-round drum in Fallujah. Why do we need it in Dayton or Springfield or anywhere else in this nation? We also need some investments in environmental justice legislation. Too often, our rural communities, our poor communities, and our communities of colors become the dumping ground for toxic chemicals and for industrial pollutants who choose to ignore EPA regulations. And with this president in the White House, work with the EPA, at least the EPA appointees that Trump has put into office, to ignore environmental regulations. We also need investment in infrastructure. Nationwide, our infrastructure is rated as a D- by the American Association of Civil Engineers. We need $1 trillion in investments in order to bring us up to a C grade. This president promised on the campaign trail that he would make those investments, and yet he has, like everything else, broken those promises. And in fact, the last two budgets that he proposed had a $200 billion cut each time on infrastructure. Why is that important to us? Our farmers here in Illinois cannot get our crops to the market. In fact, in the last several years, people in the southeastern part of the United States, Alabama, Georgia, the like, have been buying their corn and soybean from Brazil because we cannot get our crops to market down the Mississippi fast enough because our locks and dams don't have the repairs that are needed. Across the state, 2,500 bridges are deemed sufficiently deficient but okay to travel upon. You probably cross a bridge today that are structurally deficient per civil engineer standards, but yet we're still driving on them. The governor is doing everything that he can, and the state is passing and making those tough choices to raise the funds in order to repair those bridges, but the federal government needs to provide those dollars as well so that we can fix those bridges here in Illinois and those dams and those levees. And let me just talk a little bit about my good friend Dick and the work that he has done. Despite the roadblocks, despite everything that has happened, Dick has actually done something that few other senators have done. He's actually passed legislation under Donald Trump. Landmark legislation, important legislation, like criminal justice reform. And yes, we led the way here in Illinois when we vacated so many unjust sentences of those with minor direct convictions. Shout out to the marijuana moms. Although I was told they were called the cannabis rhymes with witches. So we have vacated some of those federal convictions, but we need to do a lot more. And this is where also having Kwame Raoul in office has been so important, because it is our attorneys general who are forming that defensive perimeter against the worst transgressions of this presidency, who does everything they can every day to do an end run around our Constitution. So we need you as much as ever. We need all of you in this room. I know we ask you every time we come here, and yes, we have to continue to show up. Because if it were not for the people in this room who work hard every single day, and who will work hard every single day from now until the election, we would not have a majority in the House. We need to get Betsy into office. I cannot wait until she is in office. She is a firecracker, although I hear she might have to buy new tires for her car because she's put so much mileage on it, or maybe a transmission job. But listen, we're celebrating today. Take the day, celebrate, go to the fair, eat whatever you want on a stick, have a good time, and then let's get back to work because there's so much left to be done. Illinois can lead the way. Illinois already is leading the way for the nation, but let's take this message to the federal level. Elect those folks in Southern Illinois. Get the groundwork set up. Get the field program set up so that we can win the presidential and that we can truly not only turn Illinois blue, but this nation blue. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all.